Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very, very special Unlocked Tuesday live stream. Today, we have an awesome topic for you. We are talking about the BRRRR Method. This is the method that you have heard me shouting from the rooftops, how great it is, how I've built my portfolio with this method. And today, we are going to give you the ins and outs of exactly how it works, all the benefits, and we're going to help you take some next steps, take some action to start implementing this exact method in your own business. So if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is such a fun community. I have absolutely loved building this Facebook group. These live streams are very interactive. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you in the comments. If you're on YouTube Live, if you're on Facebook Live, if you are on Instagram Live, wherever you're coming from, I can see all your comments. So do not be shy. Ask your questions, and I'll answer what I can. I'm going to get started. So here we go. Let me start presenting. Here we go. BRRRR for beginners. Even if you have done some real estate deals, but not a BRRRR deal, this is great for you. Even if you have done some BRRRR deals and you kind of fumbled your way through it, and you weren't really sure what you were doing, it's good for you. Even if you are doing short-term rentals, the BRRRR method can work for your purchase, and then you exit into a short-term rental. So this is a strategy that you can use for buying real estate. And it lets you, let me just get into it. I'm Jessie Lang, buy and hold investor, mentor, coach. Here we go. Little about me first. So I graduated college 2010. I'm going to age myself. And I did, society says you get a job, you buy a house, you have kids, you get a big girl job, you do all these things. So I definitely did not do all of them, but I did do some of them. And I bought a crappy little condo in Austin, Texas, that I really could not afford that mortgage. Honestly, in hindsight, I had no business getting that mortgage. And so I had roommates. I had my partner at the time and a roommate, a Craigslist roommate, if that tells you kind of what was going on back in 2010. And they were paying my mortgage. It was great. It was fantastic. 2013 comes around and my partner and I split. I knew that it would be crazy to sell the house. I knew it would be crazy to, I didn't want to live there emotionally, and I could absolutely not afford the mortgage plus rent somewhere else. So I got roommates. I got tenants. In the matter of 2 weeks, I went from just living my life to having 4 college boys renting out my condo. So I became an accidental landlord. We're talking 10 years ago at this point. Accidental landlord, but I knew it was pretty cool that people were paying me rent this whole time, right? So I rented for a few months and then I bought a new house. I bought another house with owner occupant financing, moved into that one, had one long-term rental. I had roommates at my house I lived in. Did it again the following year. So at this point, I have 2 long-term rentals plus roommates at my house. And I have my big girl job, no kids. So I'm living it up. I'm making all this money for my rental income. I'm able to save. Like, I am getting a taste for real estate, but did not take it seriously. 2016, I go and I just say, forget it, quit my job. I went to go travel the world for a year. It was amazing. I did this on 3 rentals. Please don't think that you can go travel the world for a year on 3 rentals. It was a little naive of me, but it was very, very fun. I met my gorgeous wife. I met the company that brought me to Columbus, Ohio, because this was all in Austin. So moved to Columbus, Ohio, 2017. I was at that job for about a year and a half. Nothing crazy. I knew it wasn't for me. I was working really, really, really hard for someone else. And I had a taste of real estate. At this point, I had been a housing provider since 2010 with all my roommates, so I'm like, why am I working so hard for someone else? I caught myself crying on the kitchen floor. And my lovely wife, Laura, said, just quit, do real estate full time. So I give her a lot of credit, but quit my job. I was wholesaling. I was doing Airbnb. I got my real estate license. I was all over the place for my first 2 full years in real estate. And I will be honest, I did not have a whole lot to show for it. So made capital, which was fantastic and let me buy real estate down the line. But I really wasn't creating any sort of wealth. So it took until 2021. It took until getting a mentor that I got super clear on the BRRRR method. I knew I liked long-term rentals. I'd been doing it for a while. So I got really, really clear on the method that worked for me. Since then, I had bought some doors before that. So I had 11 doors that I bought the wrong way, conventional financing or owner-occupant financing. From January 2021 to today, we have purchased well over 60 rentals using the BRRRR method, and that's about 3.5 years, y'all. So the fact is, this method lets you scale. And I just want to show you, I am just a regular person. You saw my story. I fully was making it up as I went. I did not know that real estate was a serious career. I'm just a traveling, pet loving puzzler from Texas. So I want to show you that even if you don't have all the recipe and all the pieces today, this is definitely something that you can do. So before we get into it, y'all, let me know in the comments, where are you watching from? Tell me your state, your market, if you have any rentals. I really, really love to know who I am talking to. So y'all, let me know in the comments. Even if you're on the replay, let us know, because I can always come back and comment. So what are the benefits of owning real estate? You've probably heard a bunch of these, but I am going to share a couple more. Oh, y'all, we have people from everywhere. This is great. Columbus, California, wants to be in Ohio. Love that. San Francisco. Okay, well, cool. So benefits of owning real estate. You probably have heard these. Cash flow is the amount of money after all of your expenses every month that is left over from the rent minus expenses, cash flow. You have appreciation. So this is the natural increase in value over time. You have principal reduction. Every time that you make a mortgage payment, your renters are paying you, but every time you make a mortgage payment, it's credited towards your principal. So appreciation's going up, principal balance is going down, and you're getting more and more equity every time a mortgage payment is made. Then you have your tax advantages, your depreciation write-offs, deferment with 1031 exchange. We just did a big 1031 cost segregation. Those are advanced, but these are things that if you are only transacting, meaning buying, selling, wholesaling, retailing, if you're an agent, these are things that are going to be highly taxed. You don't quite get these advantages that you get with buy and hold. Then we have the cash out refi. So you've probably heard the first 4. Today, we're going to go so deep on the cash out refi, because that is an element of the BRRRR method that you don't see if you're buying conventional or FHA or anything like that. So think about like a traditional deal that you've been through. The bank has wanted to see you have a W-2 job, perfect credit. They want to know every single little transaction that you've had in any of your bank statements in the last 60 days. They want your firstborn, okay? They want so much from you. It takes a long time to close. There's typically a full appraisal, a full inspection, and tons of paperwork. This is a 45-day process. So if we are looking to buy real estate under market value, how am I possibly going to be competitive if I am using traditional financing, right? I can't make offers fast enough and close fast enough to get the deals I need to get. We're going to get you around that with the BRRRR method. Y'all, let me know in the comments, have you done a BRRRR deal before? Or are you familiar with BRRRR? Anyone know what it stands for? You want to give me a little spoiler? Okay, we're going to get to it. Start at the top like a clock. Buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. I will be perfectly honest, I did not invent this method. I think Bigger Pockets did years and years ago, or they at least coined the name. And I just got really, really good at it and have put it together in a way that is really, teachable. By the end of this, you're going to understand it really well. So did not invent it, but really, really good at it. Why we love Burr. There are tons of things that are amazing, but I'm going to share the top 2 with you. So first, like, you're thinking, this sounds like a lot of work. I'm buying it, I'm renovating it, I'm refinancing it. Why don't I just buy it turnkey? Okay. You're going to wind up with an asset, a property that is low maintenance, and we aim for the next 10 years. So during the renovation, we are aiming for a low maintenance property for 10 years. Major mechanicals, cosmetics, we talk about hardening the property. We'll get into all that. Second thing that it gives you is low or no money in the deal. If you are buying with 20% down, you are locked into, about 20% of the purchase price in your own money tied up in that deal. BRRRR Method lets you pull out your initial investment. So you wind up with no money in the deal, or a little bit of money in the deal, or best case scenario, you're actually pulling money out of the deal. And I'm going to show you examples of all of this. So first is buy, the acquisition of a property. And the key here is that it's undervalued and in need of repairs. We call this forcing appreciation. If you don't have the ability to force value or add value through renovations, then it may not be a good Burr deal. So we are looking for properties that need work. Where are we finding these? I won't go over every single detail, but essentially MLS with the help of a real estate agent, through wholesalers. If you are not familiar with wholesaling, it's essentially someone who is doing direct to seller marketing, meaning we buy houses signs, cold calling, texting, some of that's illegal now, but they are going direct to the seller. They're putting it under contract, and then they are selling that contract for a fee. So they do the legwork, and you can buy the deal without having to, you can buy the contract without having to do a lot of that legwork. You could do your own direct to seller, which is what the wholesalers are doing, or referrals. You guys, referrals are amazing because they're free, and typically the person knows you and they're really easy to work with. Not always, but usually. Some cons, MLS, more competition. Wholesale, it's a little bit of the Wild West. It's actually becoming illegal in quite a few states. So it's because there's been so many issues. And I don't want to scare you. There's really amazing wholesalers, but you're paying a fee. There's less oversight. Direct to seller is really a full-time job if you're going to do it right. And then referrals is, they're so good, but not everyone is ready to sell a distressed house at any time. So once you find a deal, okay, so a wholesaler comes to you, they have a deal, they bring you a deal, and you're like, okay, I got to go get this financed. If you're going through a traditional bank, you're looking at 20% down, 30 to 45 days to close, honestly, sometimes longer. 6 to 9% is about what we're seeing. Depending on credit score factors, they take a lot into consideration. And availability, really, everyone has access. Not everyone, but anyone with a decent deal and decent credit can go and get a conventional loan. But they're slow. So we like hard money and we like private money. These are how investors are buying real estate fast. If you are sitting around thinking, every time I want to make an offer on a house and then all of a sudden it's swooped up, it's because a different buyer came in with hard or private money that looks way, way better to a seller, right? Their offer is more enticing. 10% of the purchase and rehab to purchase. The purchase price plus the rehab. Your lender is going to finance the rehab. This is crazy. 14 to 21 days to close. Our lender is closing in 3 to 7 days. So we're faster than this, okay? But that's pretty standard. APR, you're going to notice you're paying points, and a point is equal to 1% of the loan value. And you're really 12 to maybe 13, 14%, depending on what your experience level is. They're traditionally, for more experienced investors, some hard money lenders will absolutely lend to first-time investors, but typically it is they want to see a portfolio. Private money is relationship-based, meaning it is someone you know in your personal network. No, I cannot introduce you to my private lenders. Like, that is something that you go out and find. Depending on where you find them, it could be anywhere. We have some at 8% up to, if the deal's good, 16%. I don't mind paying a high APR because I have the money for a short time and it's easy to work with, right? So Emerson asked on qualifications, any insight if you're self-employed? So the hard money loans and private money loans are typically asset-based. Yes, they do need a couple of different background as far as your ID, some bank statements, but no one is like digging into every single little detail about you. It is asset-based. It is based on the deal itself. So self-employed, no problem if it's a good deal. So now we bought it. Okay. We put some hard money on it. Now we got to go renovate. This is to increase the market value. That is the core component of what we are doing here. What renovations are we going to do? For us, it is always a focus on function and safety. I hit safety and function first, and then whatever budget we have remaining goes to cosmetics. Obviously, we underwrite with doing all the cosmetics that we need to, but if something comes up that's safety or function, and that means that I can't do something on the cosmetic side, then that's fine. I prioritize it. Smoke detectors, CO2, GFCI outlets, asbestos, anything that could cause issue down the line, with health of your resident or with liability for yourself. So we really, really focus on function and safety. We also focus on hardening the property. So no soft surfaces. I do not put in carpet. You know how often you're replacing carpet? Every single turnover. Is it more expensive up front? Potentially. Okay. But it's less expensive in the long run because you're not replacing carpet. You're not replacing drywall behind the stove. You're not replacing, all these little soft surfaces that can be damaged by someone, even if they're not a bad resident. It's just someone who's living in a property, right? It's going to have less wear and tear on a hardened item. Can also reduce turnover because a lot of these, they just look nicer and people feel at home. How do I do the same project over and over and over and over and over? And it is because I have not fallen for the HGTV trap. I fell for it in the beginning and everything went slow. But as soon as I figured out, I'm not picking new finishes for every property. I am not, doing accent walls. I'm not doing anything like that. I have a standard scope of work and I do that scope of work over and over and over and over. We picked our finishes one time. I built out my preferred SKU list that my contractor has. And another benefit is you can actually shuffle material between properties. So if you have leftover flooring at one, well, you're using the same flooring throughout, so you can move it to another. Now we got our property renovated. We got to go get it rented out. You guys, if you're here with us live, looks like a lot of folks are on. Let me know. Are you loving this? Is this helpful? Let me know if you have any questions. I for sure want to hear from you. Laura says, love that. Appreciate it. So in the renting section, this is, active leasing property. You want a steady income stream, well-maintained, strategically located, right? Okay, we got some so helpfuls. Yes, yes, yes. How are we going to advertise this thing? So determine market rent. You can do it through Zillow Comps. There's a software called Rentometer. You can test the market. You determine your rent. Now we have to go advertise. We love Zillow. There's 4 rent signs, of course. My downside is that you are advertising your property's vacant. So we kind of shy away from for rent. You can do Facebook Marketplace. So you got to get the word out that you have a unit available. And then people want to come see it. So are you going to do an open house? Are you going to do self-showing? Are you going to do pre-approved showings, which is actually what we do. And, we can't get into it in this lesson, but we do have a resource. I did a live stream with my property manager, in-house property manager, Cassie. So if you guys want to see how we do self showings, then let us know in the comments, and we'll comment self showing and we'll get you tagged in that training. So you have your resident, you did the screening, everything, you found a great person. How are you actually going to manage this thing? So we do all of our management in-house. It is so, so, so important to me that my residents and my assets are treated in a way that I can control. We had property management for about 9-10 months back a couple years ago. And will tell you, I spent as much time managing the manager as if I just did it myself. Plus, it wasn't a lot of situations weren't being handled in a way I felt was appropriate. So I highly recommend you self-manage. If you do, you're going to need a software. Yes. Elisa says, self-showing, please and thank you. Yes, 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 yes. Benefits of a software, you're going to streamline communication, reduce cost and mistakes, right? No one's mailing you a check that gets lost in the mail, anything like that. You have all your communication in one place, and it allows you to outsource tasks to your team members. Some key features as you're shopping for the software that you want to use is they all do kind of about the same thing, but these are really the bare minimum that you want to see. Accepts payments, ACH, we take credit card, some sort of mass messaging where, we're in Ohio and we've had tornadoes recently. So we will send out a message to everyone at once, letting folks know how to be safe, how to keep the property safe, keep their family safe. So some sort of way you can get a mass message out. Digital signatures for lease signings, and for any notices, maintenance requests. Obviously, you don't want someone calling you up in the middle of the night about their toilet. You want them to put it in a formal process or, formal system. Pictures, videos, all that. Listing syndication, meaning I'm not going out and listing this thing on Zillow, HotPads, apartments.com. That would take forever. So you put in your software, you push a button and it goes out to all of them. And then automated reporting. So you got to know how your portfolio is performing. We got it rented. Okay. They're onboarded into our system. They're moved in. Now we go to refinance it. So we're going to get a new mortgage because remember, I have hard money. That's a 12, maybe 18-month loan. It's a short-term, high-interest loan product. I need to go out and put long-term money on this. So we're refinancing with a DSCR 30-year note. We'll look at all that. But essentially, I'm taking this new package that I created, a renovated property, a market rate tenant, and the bank wants to see that I did all this work. And then they're going to give me a new loan that pays off the first one. As you're shopping for lenders, you want to look for these types of products, DSCR, portfolio, conventional, rate and term. These are kind of, investor type products. Questions to ask: what types of loans? That one's self-explanatory. Is there a prepayment penalty? So what happens if I pay it off early? Rate and points, amortization schedule, meaning you want to look, is it a lot of investor products are 20 years, meaning your principal balance is actually going to be higher than if you are on a 30-year amortization. So you gotta pay attention to that. Max LTV, loan to value, and we'll get into it. But what document, seasoning period, meaning how long do you have to own it or how long does it have to be rented? Do you escrow taxes and insurance? Do you require a full appraisal? Take a screenshot of this if you guys want, because these are like the standard questions that you would ask. And then you get your loan and then you got to go repeat the process. And so this is where everyone, I think, like, you get your loan and then you forget about it. And you're like so eager to start the next one that you forget to slow down, to speed up and put your systems and processes in place. So how do you do that? First, you fill out your data management system. You may never have heard of this. I do kind of feel like I invented it. We have a custom data management system that I have built out over the last 4 years that tracks everything from my mortgages, my renovations, like what did I actually do? How much did it cost me? All of our appraisals. I could tell you every appraisal on every property for the life of my portfolio. We track our inspections. This is non-negotiable. We also complete a postmortem review. So I have a custom calculator that we've built. I underwrite in one column, and then I come back when the project's done and I do my postmortem and I see what assumptions did I have that were wrong? Where could I tighten up my timelines? Where could I, tighten up my costs? All that. And now once you have those lessons learned and once you have everything tracked, now you get to do it again and again and again and again. So let's look at some examples. I'm going to take us a little second. I'm going to look through some questions. You guys, we've learned a lot so far, especially if you are just hearing about the BRRRR method for the first time. You'll see you buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. There's quite a few steps. Overall, the process is taking us 4 to 5 months for a standard renovation. I like to have at least one property in every letter at all times. At least one, hopefully more than one. Let's see what we have. A lot of people saying self-showing. We get more money when we refinance the property, and that's because it's done in remodel. Yep, exactly right. So we added value by doing a renovation. Alrighty, let's hop into some examples. Definitions are all along the side. Example 1 is a sample of a deal that we would find here in Central Ohio. I'm not exaggerating. I bought almost this exact deal like a few months ago. So we're going to purchase it for $75,000. We're going to put 25 into it for renovation. And I'm going to have some holding costs between finance costs, between, title, insurance, taxes, you have utilities, all that. So I'm going to have some holding costs. So I'm in the property for $105,000. And now this property is worth $140,000 because I forced the value through renovation. The bank at the time of refi will give me a 75% loan to value, meaning if it's worth 140, they'll lend 75% of that in the form of a new loan. If you notice, that new loan amount is also $105,000. Can you believe it? That is just so convenient. So I'm in it for 105. I get 105 back. My cash in the deal is $0. And I want to call out, it's worth 140, but my loan amount's only 105. So I have 25% equity in this deal. Now that's example 1. Example 2, you're going to say, I already know it. I already know it. There are no properties in my area for $75,000. Jesse, you're crazy. This would never work. Okay. It can work as long as the numbers scale up at the same ratios. So purchase price in example 2 is $230,000. I put $60,000 into it. Holding costs are higher, right? Because my mortgage is more, taxes are probably more. So $10,000 holding. I'm all in for $300,000. I made a beautiful new package of a renovated market rate property. I took it to the bank. I said, hey, what will you give me for this? They get it appraised, $400,000. They'll give me 75% loan to value, $300,000. I'm in it for $300,000, and I got a new loan for $300,000. So I have $0 of my own money in the deal plus 25% equity. That's pretty cool, y'all. That is really cool. Jennifer's asking, can I explain what hard money is? So it is a specific loan type typically aimed at investors that is short-term, 12, maybe 18 months, high interest, and it's designed to let you buy fast and get you in and out of the deal. So you need to do all of this and then you refinance into long-term money. So let's look at the ongoing cash flow. Again, definitions are here. Example 1, same exact deal as prior slide, $1,250 rent. So my debt service on that, debt service is only the principal interest. $775, taxes $75, insurance $50, repairs, vacancies, we have 5%. So I'm cash flowing $224 a month. Example 2, same thing. You assume the property's worth more, maybe in a better neighborhood or in a market that has higher rents. So $3,200 comes in every month. You pay your debt service, your taxes, insurance. You put money to the side for your repairs, your vacancies. And then this little baby's cash flowing $300 a month with none of your own money in the deal. Is that crazy? It's so crazy. Bill's saying the loan is based on collateral. The loan is based on using the home property as collateral rather than using your proof of income and all that. So it is debt service coverage ratios, DSCR, and it's based on the income that the property brings in. So your signed lease with your rent. Debt service is not only interest. Debt service is your principal and interest. You may be thinking of a mortgage payment that's PITI. So principal, interest, taxes, insurance. So your home, like your loan for your house, is probably escrow, taxes, insurance. So when you see a mortgage, your mortgage changes because the taxes and insurance change annually, and you have like a reassessment every year. But if you're looking at only the debt service, it's only principal interest. Sorry. Okay. So here is our forced equity example. I have 25% equity with none of my own money, meaning example 1 was worth 140. My loan amount's 105. I have $35,000 in equity that I created. Example 2, I have $100,000 in equity that I created. Oh, thank you, Carlos. I said only interest. It's principal and interest is your debt service. Sorry about that. Good catch. Y'all, so what do you think? What do you think about the BRRRR method? Like, is this powerful? How long do you want to hold a property before refi? So as long as it takes you to get it renovated and rented, then I'm like going as fast as I can. Now, what you may run into is your refi lender has a seasoning requirement, meaning you have to have it you either need to hold it, like own it for a period of time, or have it leased for a period of time. So that's actually part of the questions that you should ask. It could be, there's some lenders with 0 seasoning. There's others like pretty standards 3, some are up to 6 months. So you can't actually start the process until you hit that seasoning period. So it's very cool, y'all. I know that this was a really high level. I want to give, but there's no way that I could explain this entire process to you in, a 30-minute presentation. So I highly encourage you to get more educated on this method because it is insanely powerful. I have built my portfolio in the last 3.5 years from 11 doors, and I don't know my equity at that time, but today we're at about $10 million, and $4 million of that is equity. Yes, I do have $6 million in loans, but every month the values go up, my principal goes down. So right now we're sitting on about $4 million that I've created with this method in the last 3.5 years. Like, seriously, take a minute and think back. Where were you 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Where were you in your life? And where would you be 5 years from now if you could harness the power of real estate? How would your life change? It's pretty good. Okay. I have this broken down in our BRRRR for Beginners blueprint. It is the ultimate mini course. It is this presentation with all the resources. This is the 30-minute version. You guys, this is 3.5 hours deep dive with me into this exact process. There is a face-to-face call with me every single month. You get to hang out with me every month in a group setting. I go over all your questions. I look at your deals. It's ongoing. We have a private Facebook community. You guys are all watching this in our big community, and I love, love, love it. But we have a private community as well that I spend a lot more time in. This is all for $47 one time, and you can hop on with me once a month as long as this course exists to get all your real estate questions answered. So Lizzie's on in the background. She is going to drop the link in the chat. I have poured some blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and I mean, yeah. Bill says it's a steal. Come on, Bill, come on down. We've been trying to work with you for months now. Bill, would love to see it inside. So you get to hang out with me. You get all this broken down into so much more. And I'm excited to share all of this with you. So link is in the chat. If you guys are watching on YouTube, Lizzie is going to update the description. So it should be there. It should be in the description. Absolutely hope to see you inside. And once you get immediate access. So I hope this is what you're spending your whole afternoon doing. Y'all, if you're watching the replay, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Just tag me, tag Lizzie, and we will get your questions answered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was such a fun one, and really excited to see y'all in there. Bye.